Welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. Yes, I did. I finally made a wreath on the 8-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. And not only that, but we're using a 21-inch roll of fabric mesh. So you could either use fabric mesh on this wreath or Deco Mesh. But I wanted to give you an option of a different size mesh because I know that a lot of you have a lot of the bigger size rolls in your craft stash, and I wanted to show you how to use it. This is a zinnia petal. I did a video on this probably about a month or so ago. I will link that video in the description box below, so make sure to check that out. I hope you enjoy this wreath. If you're watching this right now, I believe it's March the 26th, 2020, and we are all living through the coronavirus. We're just living through it and we don't have anywhere to go, and I'm stuck in my house. So I hope you enjoy this. Let me know how you're doing right now, how you're faring in all of this, and I hope that this will give you a little bit of joy and some other ideas of how you can make another wreath. Let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to do is we're going to cut our mesh here. I am using a 21-inch fabric mesh. You could use Deco Mesh if you have this. You could even use poly burlap if you have it. But this is what I have, and I really like the purple, so I want to use this. I'm kind of partial to fabric mesh versus Deco Mesh if I have the choice. And so since I have the choice today, this is what I'm choosing. All right, so if it is 21 inches long, then we're going to cut it at 21 inches. We want that perfect square, as close as we can get. And I'm just going to take my rotary cutter. I like the Alpha, is probably my favorite. I have the Fiskars and I do like those, but once I bought one of these, I really like the difference. I just kind of feel like it just does a little bit better. So I'm going to just cut the mesh here, and this is also in my Amazon store. All right, so what we're going to do to make this zinnia petal, and I've never made you a petal using a 21-inch roll. I had somebody contact me and said, hey, could you do a 21-inch? And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I just have never done it. So you're just going to do like you do with the zinnia petal. You're going to fold it over. And remember how we kind of treat these as 3 sections. You've got this third, and this third. So I don't have like a specific point. I just kind of eyeball it. I kind of just gather it in one spot, and then I come over here and I gather it in one spot. Okay, see what I'm doing here? And then I bring those together. Okay, got your little, what is that, a starfish look there? And then I'm just going to bring this tail down and this tail down. All right, and I kind of like the fabric mesh a little bit because it does let me play with it a little bit more. And then you could take these, I'm going to use a 4-inch zip tie. And it's, if you have problems with zip ties, you might want to use an 8-inch if it's easier on your hand. I just listed these 4-inch zip ties in my Amazon store because this is the first 4-inch zip tie that I have found from Amazon that I like and that I would recommend. So that is your petal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make more of these petals, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to put this on a Dollar Tree 8-inch form. Again, that's another frame that you guys have been asking me to use, so I'm going to use it today. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to use for our frame. This is an 8-inch frame that you can get at Dollar Tree, and they come in a pack of 2. And I've had a lot of you ask me about this frame. I've never used it, so I thought I would use this opportunity to show you how to use it. This is a normal 8-inch frame that I would normally use, and these are probably about $1.50 on consumercrafts.com. So what we're going to do though today is we're going to focus on a Dollar Tree frame. It's because a lot of you have them, and you don't have to use the Dollar Tree frame. You can use the other one if you would like. So as you can see, I've already put some of the 5 mesh plastic canvas, and I'll just kind of show you. It's a very flexible canvas. They do sell this in 7 mesh, but I prefer the 5 mesh. So this is what we're going to get started with. So I've made all my petals, and I wanted to kind of say to you guys, because I get this a lot in my Wreath group, Wreath Creators and more, people will be like, oh, my petals aren't all the same. they're not going to be all the same. You know why? Because mine are not all the same, and that's okay. And that's what's the beauty of flowers. Every petal is not the same. And so I just kind of wanted to kind of encourage you in that it's okay, because mine aren't all the same either. But I am going to show you this handy dandy tool that I use. And of course, it was underneath that frame. These are in my Amazon shop. This has a nice blade on it. I have 2 different kinds of these, and it just cuts really well. And of course, it didn't cut the end there because I need to change the blade. So anyways, but you just change the blades when you need to, and I think I need to. All right, so where are we going to put these on our frame? So we're going to work on, again, you know me, I'm going to work on that second bar. And the reason why I work on that second bar is because it raises your petal a little bit. And if you're attaching your leaf to this outer bar, then your green is going to go out just a little bit more. So we're always going to work on that second frame. So all you're going to do is you're going to go around and you're just going to add petals to the second bar, and I'm going to use an 8-inch petal or 8-inch zip tie here. Again, if you can work with the 4-inch, then just work with the 4-inch. But let me find my wire cutters here. Yeah, you guys can't see the mess off to the side. Anyways, if you have an issue with your petal going kind of wonky, like this one is kind of moving a little bit, I don't think I should have tightened that a little bit more. I'm going to take a 4-inch, and so this one went this way, so now I'm going to go that way. So we're going to have that X feel here, and what that's going to do is that's just going to straighten out your petal for you if you're having that issue. Now see, this is why I use the 8-inch, because it's just a little bit easier to control, but since I've committed to this 4-inch, I'm going to do it. And what that's going to do, now that petal is not moving, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to keep adding my petals here. And I'm going to make sure that they're just close enough to the fact that there's still space down here. And I'm getting my words jumbled up, and I apologize. But I want my petals to be touching there, all right? So make sure that your petals are touching at the top and not necessarily, you know, you don't have to do this. We want space so that we can have spots for our other petals to kind of lay in between, because we're going to do more petals. So I'm just going to add a zip tie and pull it tight, because I didn't pull the other one that tight. So I'm not going to need to add another zip tie there. So that's 2. Let's see how many we get here. And again, we're just going to do it so that they're touching this up here, not down here. So I'm thinking that we're going to put like 4 petals per section. So let's just see if I'm right. So tell me how you guys are coping. I know that when I released this video, are all, at least I am, I'm on lockdown because I'm in Michigan and we're dealing with the coronavirus outbreak. And if you and your family have been affected by this, if you have a loved one, or maybe you have or had the virus, you guys you're in my prayers. So, okay. So right now I know I'm going to need 4. So I'm going to put 4 in this section and 4 in this section. Now, if you're using a frame like this, because there's 4 sections, you would do 3 in each section and you would still have the same amount of petals, okay? It wouldn't change, but these sections are smaller than that. So 4, 4, and 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 4 is 12. So either way, you're going to be good. So I'm going to keep doing this and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the good news. The good news is I really love how this is coming together. Here's the bad news. I had to make an extra petal, which meant that I had to cut into a second roll of mesh. So let me give you a solution if you only have 1 roll of mesh. You can order, let's see, where did I just put it? You can order a 6-inch wreath frame. I know you probably haven't seen these many places. They do sell them at Joann Fabrics, and I do believe you can find these online at most online crafts sites. I do think that the consumercrafts.com has these as well. So if you use this one, you would end up putting only 9 petals on the inside, and then you would use less on the inside. So that way you could get away with 1 roll. Well, I didn't use that small of a form, so I just cut into the 2nd roll. I had it. It's not a big deal for me. You could even, if you wanted to, if you're looking at this, you could probably take one of these petals out and just kind of adjust them if you wanted. Like I said, it was just 1 petal. So like some of these are a little overlapping for me, so I probably could have taken one out, but I didn't. So let's just move on. And that's what I'm going to tell you. Because I got 17 petals out of 1 roll. So it's like I needed 18. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where I want to start with this. So I'm thinking that's about the right spot there. So let me put my zip tie, and then I'm going to tell you how much that is inside. So if you're looking at this, this is where, so you're looking at about 2 inches in is where I'm putting. Now, if you want to put yours a little bit farther out, then do that, and so forth. And you know what? I might just adjust this because I'm thinking when I put them all together, I want them a little bit. So let's do 1.5 inches. I think that that's a better fit. Like I said, when I do these, I'm doing these kind of for the first time, and I'm like, okay, this is what I have in my mind, and this is what I want to do. So, you know, you have to adjust sometimes, okay? So there we go. So there's the first one. And I believe I'm only going to need 1 extra petal, and I've already made that petal up. So let's just see. All right, let's put this one in about right here and see how that's going to look. See if that'll lay right. Yeah, because I don't really want them to overlap. So I'm just going to keep filling these in, and then we will work on the middle for this flower. Okay, so let's talk about the middle. We are going to use this fabric mesh. It's a kind of a sunflower yellow. If you check with Trendy Tree or the Wreath shop, they should have some, or maybe you can find an alternative color. This is just really singing to me because I feel like the yellow and the purple go really well together. So I just decided I'm going to use this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 3 cuts of this in 2.5 yard cuts. And I'm not really sure that I'm going to need that much, and I really probably won't. But I want to make sure that I have enough of what I'm wanting to do because we're going to braid this. So we're going to just cut it. Okay, so I've got all 3 cuts here, and I'm just, as you can see, I'm just laying them on top of each other. And then I'm just going to gather it at the top, and I'm going to add, let's see, we need a zip tie. We're going to add a zip tie to it, okay? Again, we're not going to need this much. I know I cut way too much, but depending on how big, I should have used my wire cutters for that, not my scissors. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to need to stand up and do this, and you're just simply going to braid it, and you're just going to braid it rather tightly. So just, you know, standing up and doing it is the best way. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do this, and then I'll come back with it. So just braid it like you're braiding a little girl's hair, and it will be fine. Okay, so I did not use a full 2.5 yards. I wish I hadn't told you that before, because now you're going to be confused. What I would suggest is cutting 1.25 yards to maybe 1.5 yards. You're not going to use it all if you make this size. Now, if you want a bigger size sensor, you're going to need more mesh. It just makes sense. But I did cut off some of the mesh. I cut off at least 1.5 yards, or no, about 1.25 yards. So you're just going to pull on it, and when you pull on it, it just kind of makes the rope a little longer. And you can do this with poly burlap mesh. You can do this with Deco Mesh as well, but we're going to do it with this fabric mesh. So when I look at my ends, this is the one that I think, it's not that great. So I'm going to save that for the end. So this is where we're going to start. And I'm just going to overlap, okay? So we're going to overlap right there. Okay, see that? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap around that little knot that I've made, okay? So what do I do to get this to stay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a zip tie and I'm going to connect it from one side of this to the center. All right? And this is how we're going to connect it all. I have another video showing how to do this for a sunflower, but I thought we would use this for this wreath too. So you're just going to keep wrapping, and as you wrap, you're just going to add another zip tie. And you don't have to get a lot of it, just enough. You know, it doesn't have to go through the middle section of my braid here. Okay, I'm just trying to get the thing to cooperate, okay? So, all right, we're gonna keep going, and I'm gonna try to make this a little rounder. I'm gonna squeeze it a little bit. And, okay, I'm looking at this side. Looking at that, I like how that's looking. So let's add another one. But if you like any of these meshes, I'm gonna leave my affiliate links for Trendy Tree and for the wreath shop. Let's see, keep wrapping. And if you like to craft, come join my group, Wreath Creators and More. We'd love to have you join. And if you like these tutorials, you might like my premium tutorials, and I do sell those, and the links are down, and this one is giving me fits. Okay, and I do have some private groups where I teach how to make angel wings out of the Christmas tree technique that I do. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a nice round shape going on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this ends where this is on top like that, so that we keep that round look, okay? So I'm just going to kind of pull this over. And this is where I usually get a bigger 8-inch zip tie. So I'm going to find one over here so that I can go underneath of it. I'm going to show you here in a moment. So I'm going inside of this, and then I want to go around the whole length of that edge, or the end of our rope here. End of our rope, haha. So funny, Julie. Yeah, not really, but you know, I gotta try. All right, so I'm gonna just cut those. So let's just kind of push this around, and then I'm gonna kind of just make sure that it's the shape I want, and then I'm gonna add a few more zip ties underneath just to make sure that it's all secure, and then I'm gonna come back and show you how we're gonna put it on our wreath. Testing 1, 2. Okay, so as you can see, I have my middle. I maybe added 2 more zip ties. It didn't need many. So I'm just going to take my wire here, and I'm going to go through like the center section here, if I can make it work. And then this is how we're going to run it down through. Bend that. There we go. I got it. See, that wants to give me a hard time too. So I'm going to trim that a little bit. So hold on. Okay, so we're back. All right, so I'm going to just take my center and run it through wherever I can find a spot here. There we go. And we're just going to pull it. And I'm going to pull it down as far as I can. So I'm going to flip this over. And as you can see, that doesn't even look like it's in the middle of the flower, but this will all work out. See, mine aren't perfect. All right. Pull that together. Cut it. So when we look at it, you know, you can kind of push down on the braids a little bit, but I think that's really, really pretty. So, and as you can see, it looks like it's in the middle of the flower to me, so that's all that matters. Now, at this point, you could be done. You don't have to add leaves. You don't have to add anything else, but I'm going to show you the option to add the leaves. So, there's a little piece of purple there. So, I'm going to go and cut some mesh, and I'm going to show you how to cut it with the wood burner. We're going to see if this mesh will cut. And then I'm going to add a few leaves and we'll just kind of decide what we think. But if you wanted to leave it at this, you could be done. But hold on, there's one more step. Okay, so this was the mesh I wanted, or I thought I was going to use, but then I put it up to the purple and I just think it's a little too bright. So I did want to let you know that I was able to cut this with my wood burner. So if you get this kind of mesh, you should be able to cut it with your wood burner. So let's take the poly burlap, just because I like the color of this so much better. And we're not going to cut this the typical 10-inch petal that I usually do. We're going to actually cut this at 13 inches for this particular wreath. And we're going to do the petal just ever so different, or ever so slightly. We're going to change it up a little bit. So I'm going to cut one at 13 inches. And yes, I had to follow the line and it's a little curvy, and that's okay. So I'm going to only cut 3 of these because we have 3 bars attached to this wreath frame, and I think the 3 will be just enough for this wreath. So I'm going to cut the rest of this and we'll put it together. Okay, so here's our wreath, and I almost want to push this down because I can see a little bit there. So if you push down the sides, it's going to cover that up. So we're going to flip this over, and because I have 3 sections here, I'm only going to use 3. I know I said probably originally maybe 5, but I kind of changed my mind because of the leaf that I want to do. So instead of our normal, you know, we meet in the middle and we, you know, gather it up, we're going to kind of roll it to the middle, okay? So let me see if let me move this over just a tad here. I want to make sure you can see all this. So we're going to roll it like this, all right? Do you see that? And then I'm going to take it and we are going to put it on the frame like so. So let me get a zip tie. They're not where I need them to be right now. So I'm going to find out where there is a bracket. Okay, so there's a bracket right here. So in order, I'm just going to put it underneath 2 of the brackets. All right. And it's right beside, it's to the left of the bracket, okay? And then I'm going to just do this. I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull it that way. And when I do that, it keeps it pretty much coming out that way. All right, so I'm going to do that at each of these brackets, and then we should be done. So I have the 3 leaves on, and I think this is going to be just perfect. I have already cut out a piece of felt and I poked some holes, and I'm just going to attach it to the frame. And one of the reasons why I do this is not only to protect the door that it hangs on, because you can hang it from any point on this wire frame because we're not going to glue this down. I do this too because the mesh can be a little see-through, so this will help darken the wreath and help the look of your wreath. And that's another reason why I do it as well. When you're using, especially if you're using lighter fabrics like this, it just helps with that, and along with giving it a nice look too. And so I'm going to finish this. Okay, so we've got the backing on it. You can kind of see the leaves. This flower is a bigger flower than my normal flowers. You're pushing around 25 inches in diameter here. So this will really fill out a door really nicely. I love the softness of the fabric mesh, but I wanted to give you another take on the zinnia petal and using 21 inch. Either you can use Deco Mesh or fabric mesh, but this is something different. Again, number 1, thank you for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't already, just hit that notification where it says subscribe, or hit the face of me at the end of this video. I think it's there. But thank you for spending your time with me. I hope you learned something. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them below. All of my links, the supply list will be in the description box below. And if you've made it this far in the video, please leave me a purple heart if you can find it. If you can't, just say, Julie, purple heart. I saw the whole thing, and it helps me know how many people are watching. So if you're here and you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. We'll see you next time on Julie's Wreath Boutique.